Coming up next, today's legendary band spent over $1 million on their hyped new album, but they had to throw the whole thing away in order to write their magnum opus. So coming up, they struggled to create an album, and it should have been the biggest of its time, but after a year of work, putting a ton of time in it, they trashed it because they hated it. They were infamously called the $1 Million Demos, but to make matters even worse, the band was about to kill each other. They were about to throw down, literally. They were 3 albums into their legendary career, and it seemed that they were done. Their frontman, he was even touring with another band entirely. But then somehow they found the magic, and they recorded 14 songs in a couple of days, including their magnum opus, which wouldn't have happened without all that adversity. But years later, the song means even more. Find out why, coming up next. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember staying up late to catch Friday night videos in the good old 80s, you're going to dig this channel of pure musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now, click the big red button, click the bell so you always know when our latest and greatest are coming out. Got a lot of great interviews coming. So it's time for another edition of our show, number one in our hearts. It's actually the first one we've done in this decade that we're going to talk about. So, of course, is the show that honors songs that were so undeniably great. They should have been number one on the Billboard Hot 100, but for whatever reason, be it radio play, lack of marketing, changing musical taste, or just sheer stupidity, the song came up short. Previous episodes, we've covered Buddy Holly by Weezer, Zombie by the Cranberries, and My Friends by Red Hot Chili Peppers. So today's song, its chart position, I'm going to chalk that one up to sheer stupidity. Let's just say it didn't even come close to number one. But that's not on the band. Rather, it was just the state of popular music at the time. Even so, this song is a number one, no-brainer. Since its inception, the song's inspired listeners to fight through adversity and instilled hope in all who hear it. It's for one of the biggest rock bands that's still going strong. It's Times Like These by Foo Fighters. It's times like these you learn to live again. So after coming home from touring their third album, There's Nothing Left to Lose, in early 2001, Foo Fighters were already looking ahead to their next record. For reference, at this time, Foo Fighters consisted of multi-instrumentalist frontman Dave Grohl, bassist Nate Mendel, drummer Taylor Hawkins, and newcomer guitarist Chris Shiflett. As the year progressed, the band made some headway on their fourth album. They were writing new music and recording demos. However, by late summer, the Foos hit the skids when a catastrophic blow almost took out Taylor Hawkins. After playing the V Festival in the UK, the legendary drummer was hospitalized after an alleged heroin overdose. Taylor went comatose for 2 days. Said Hawkins about it at the time, partying in London one night and I mistakenly did something and it changed everything. I just got out of control for a while and it almost got me. After coming to, Hawkins hit rehab to get clean. But with Taylor MIA, the Foo Fighters were forced to the sidelines, essentially. To keep busy, Dave Grohl accepted an invitation to play drums for Queens of the Stone Age. It was an experience that he thoroughly enjoyed. By December, though, a renewed Hawkins returned to work with the band at Grohl's Studio 606 in Virginia. The songs, Dave would later confirm, were a heavier response to the lighter nature of There's Nothing Left to Lose, which, according to Grohl, was written lying on the bed in front of the television with an acoustic guitar, just strumming along. In January 2002, Grohl wrote in the band's studio diary, "We finished 6 songs and are going out to LA to do the rest. Need a change of scenery. We have about 3 weeks left and then we're done." Done. Everything has turned out killer so far. This new album was going to turn it up to 11. I mean, Grohl even joked, "We have guitar leads on our songs now." However, when those 3 weeks stretched into 3 months, Dave altered his assessment. The band had 10 finished tracks that no one in the band liked at all. Taylor Hawkins called it like he saw it. Nobody had their studio chops together. The album sounded like it was phoned in. According to Dave, it felt like they were making an album just for the sake of making an album. No one was dying to do it. It just felt really forced. Now, of those 10 tracks, Dave admitted to somewhat liking 5 of them, about half of them, but no one was fired up about anything on the record. Even worse, they had spent $1 million+ to make this thing. I mean, that's a hefty price tag for an album that nobody wanted. Afterwards, they dubbed the failed venture the $1 million demos. It was a complete fiasco. 4 months, $1 million, and nothing to show for it. It just felt completely uninspired. So they just threw it away. As you can imagine, tensions were running high in this band. There was a lot of animosity. There was a lot of arguing. Nate Mendel admitted that he had a bad attitude due to disagreements with Grohl. And Shiflett said he spent whole days in the studio without playing anything. He was convinced that the band was breaking up. So in April 2002, Dave Grohl called it off. It was time to step back and reevaluate the Foo Fighters. At this moment, the band was dangerously close to calling it quits altogether. So while the Foo Fighters were mulling things over, Dave was getting jacked up for a new project, a new band. A month earlier, in March 2002, Grohl had manned the drum kit at a Queens of the Stone Age concert in LA. It was supposed to be a one-off gig. Believe it or not, though, this was the first time David played the drums on stage for the better part of a decade at that point. Actually, the first time since Nirvana. Now, Dave Grohl admitted he really felt the pressure, but he loved it. He loved it so much he agreed to tour full-time with the Queens. He said playing for Queens of the Stone Age was more inspiring and productive than working on the Foo's latest album at that point. It's the best thing I could have done. He said, back home there was tension between Taylor and I, between Nate and I. This gave us all a rest. Getting behind the drums again was an obvious escape. End of quote. It was an escape that Dave may not have returned from, if not for one last do-or-die performance with the Foos. So Queens of the Stone Age were slotted to play the 2-day Coachella Music and Arts Festival on April 27th, 2002. So Dave booked Foo Fighters for April 28th. Though the initial returns weren't promising, in rehearsals, tensions, they were fired up between Grohl and Hawkins. It was kind of shaping up to be the Foo Fighters' final performance at that point. That is until it wasn't, said Chris Shiflett about it. We all got in a huge argument. It was maybe the closest the band actually ever really did come to breaking up. But then it didn't. The night of the show, the estranged band rediscovered their passion for playing together as a band. They found the energy they'd been sorely missing for so long. They thought, okay, maybe this could work. Maybe this isn't the end. Grohl kept his commitment to tour at the Queens of the Stone Age, but Grohl also had a 2-week break coming up. So he actually reached out to Taylor Hawkins, and the feuding friends decided to write some songs together. Said Grohl about it. I went out with Queens of the Stone Age, and I had this 2-week period that was like downtime. So I called Taylor and said, hey, why don't you and I go down to Virginia and record? I have a couple of new ideas. So in this burst of creative energy, the two of them wrote and recorded 14 songs. It's just a matter of days. Together they cut all the drum, vocal, and guitar tracks. It all just flowed. Just two friends messing around, having fun again. Grohl called up Chris and Nate and he said, hey, I think we just re-recorded the whole record here. They're like, what? Yeah, we did 3 songs yesterday, doing 2 today, we're doing 3 songs tomorrow. It was coming together. Now, while Dave hit the road with the Queens of the Stone Age, Chris and Nate finished their parts in LA under the supervision of accidental producer Nick Graskulinitz. More on Nick in just a second. This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. You know, some bands have the record label to launch their careers, but today you don't need a label. You need Squarespace. It's the all-in-one platform that helps you claim your domain, build a professional website, grow your brand, and yes, even get paid. All in one place. What I love most is how easy it is to offer your services. I mean, whether you're doing music lessons, consultations, or even hosting live events, Squarespace lets you showcase it all beautifully. You can send on-brand invoices, accept online payments, and even schedule appointments right from your site. It's like having your own tour manager built in. And the design? Man, it's rock star level. With cutting-edge templates and their new Blueprint AI builder, you can create a site that looks custom-made in just a few steps. It's like going into the studio with the best producers. You bring your style, they bring the tools, and together you've got something unforgettable. So if you're ready to share your story with the world, head to squarespace.com/rock for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code ROCK to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/rock, code ROCK. Build something legendary. This was an amazing time for the band because the Foos at this point, it seemed like they had some fight left in them. According to Grohl, everyone was uncertain whether he would come back, but knew he was. Even though he was having a blast every night playing drums with the Queens, he had to come back. His Foo Fighting bandmates, they were his family. Said Grohl about it, "This is where my heart has always been." After all the pitfalls and devours, the Foo Fighters were back. They called the new album One by One. It hit store shelves on October 22nd, 2002. Better late than never. The LP went to #1 in the UK in its first week of release, climbed to #3 here in the States. It was also a hit around the world and went to the top 10 in at least 11 countries. Now, One by One boasted 4 singles. There was All My Life.
All my life I've been searching for something, something never comes, never leads to nothing.
Low.
As you go, as low as you go.
Have It All. And of course, Times Like These. Man, Times Like These. It's such a cathartic track. It perfectly captures, the drama and the relief the Foo Fighters experience in real time making this album. You can hear it in the song, the fire, the passion, the heart, it is all there. Times Like These is everything the Foo Fighters were missing the first time they recorded their album. The album previous. But this song represents even more than the band just returning to form. It's Foo Fighters elevating their sonic brilliance to an even higher level, setting a new standard of excellence. This song and this band are so authentic. You can see that in how they made One by One. It was passion or nothing, no compromise. They were ready to break up the band if they couldn't record songs that they truly believed in.
I'm a streetlight shine man.
Before I dig in any deeper on this song, let me just give you the story about accidental producer Nick Raskulinecz, since it does relate to the song. So Nick was recruited by Grohl to produce Times Like These before he got the go-ahead on the rest of the album. I guess called an audition. But he nailed it. The crazy thing is, it all happened by chance. Actually, Dave Grohl, he meant to recruit a completely different Nick for the song. That Nick was Nick Oliveri, the bassist from Queens of the Stone Age. But while he was going through his contacts, he dialed the wrong Nick. Raskulinecz had already worked with Foo Fighters as an engineer on the Godzilla track A320, which is why Dave had Nick's number in the first place.
There's a place I'd love to go. Strangers take.
But rather than fess up and admit that he'd called the wrong Nick, Dave instead invited him to produce Times Like These. Whether accident or fate, it was Nick's big break, and he did make the most of it. Since then, he's gone on to produce more big names. There's Rush, Alice in Chains, and Hellstorm, just to name a few. Plus the next Foo Fighter album, 2005's In Your Honor, did that one as well. But back to Times Like These. Not only does this song capture the turmoil leading up to One by One, but it also delivers a powerful universal message that we can all relate to. I mean, we've all been through times where we've had to learn to live again, learn to love again. And not to get all cheesy, but just like Dave, we know what it's like to feel a little divided, to wonder whether to stay or run away. I mean, Dave summarized the essence of the song perfectly when he said, "I wrote this song Times Like These at a point in my life where I was at a crossroads, where I had to make a change and a decision. But I was hopeful. And so the song is all about learning to live again, learning to love again, because it's meant to represent a continuation of a life. Life, whether we like it or not, it keeps moving on. But hopefully we keep moving too, even when there's pain and adversity. Times like these, it encourages you to keep pushing, despite the opposition.
It's times like these you learn to live again.
In times like these, it's an encourager. It just pushes you despite the opposition. I love Dave's subtle contrast between light and darkness in verse 2, where he sings, I'm a new day rising.
I'm a new day rising.
Little tip of the hat to Husker Du there.
I'm a new day rising.
I'm a brand new sky to hang the stars upon tonight.
Sky to hang the stars upon tonight.
This brilliant jukebox poetry, my friends. I mean, so hopeful, so resonant. Still, it's that chorus that drives it all home. It's times like these you learn to live again. We learn to live, we learn to give, we learn to love.
It's times like these you learn to love again.
We learn to never give up, even when the world is at its worst. Times Like These was released as the second single off One by One, January 6, 2003 to be direct. Shockingly, it only reached number 65 on the Hot 100. Musical tastes were changing. I mean, look at what was dominating the Hot 100 at the time. The top 3 spots at that moment. Number 3, Get Busy by Sean Paul. Number 2, Ignition by R. Kelly.
The ignition, so give me that. Let me give you that.
And at number 1, The Club by 50 Cent. Kind of makes me shudder. Times like these, it's one of the greatest songs ever written. It's also a breath of fresh air then and now. I try to stay positive on this channel, I do, but it breaks my heart what has happened to mainstream music in the new millennium. Emphasis on mainstream here. I know there's good music out there, but most of it's just been pushed underground. We need another Nirvana. We need another moment that shakes it up. Anyway, the good news is that Times Like These did go to number 5 on the alternative airplay chart, and it went to number 5 on the US mainstream rock chart. Elsewhere, it reached number 27 in Ireland, number 22 in Australia, number 12 in the UK, and number 1 on the UK rock and metal chart. Interestingly, Times Like These has 3 official music videos. A rare feat indeed. But no complaints here. 2 are for the studio version of the song and a 3rd for an acoustic take. That acoustic version was recorded on November 29, 2002 at the BBC Radio 1 studio.
Times like these you learn to live again.
It was then released on Radio 1's Live Lounge Volume 2 compilation. Either way, it's definitely worth a listen.
Times like these you learn to live again.
Times Like These has appeared in a handful of movies and TV shows since its release. That lineup includes American Wedding, Criminal Minds, Jericho, and One Tree Hill, to name a few.
It's times like these you give and take.
It's also been covered by Florence and the Machine. A Shinedown.
Times like these you give and give and give.
Kelly Clarkson.
I'm a little diva.
And The Script.
It's times like these you give and give again.
Also in 2019, Brandi Carlile partnered with Dave Grohl for a surprise busking session at Seattle's iconic Pike Place Market.
I'm a one-way motorway.
Along with The Flying Fish, Times Like These was on the menu that day.
It's times like these you learn to live again.
Other notable performances include Saturday Night Live, David Letterman, and The Howard Stern Show. Really can't get enough of this song.
What is this song?
It's off the new record.
I'm a one-way motorway.
But you know as well as I do, the ultimate performance of Times Like These, of this song, happened at the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert, September 3rd, 2022, at London's Wembley Stadium. Doesn't get any more powerful or emotional than this.
I'm a street light shining.
I mean, come on. You know I can't get through a Foo Fighters episode without paying tribute to Taylor Hawkins. Man, he's so missed. His passing still feels so raw. It feels like it happened yesterday. It's just hard to believe. So personally, this song came to me at the perfect time in my life. I was going through a heart-wrenching divorce. I was as low as I'd ever been. And this song was a life preserver. It made me step up and keep going. Motivated me to come back even stronger, to persevere, to survive. This song just has that ability, the ability to make you feel like you're 20 feet tall and invincible, like you get through anything. Times like these doubles as a 4.5-minute therapy session. You still feel the loss, but for a brief moment, you know you can bear the pain and make it through.
It's times like these you give again.
Okay, so as we fade out here, let me give Dave the last word on his best friend Taylor. Not long after the release of One by One, after they had come back from the brink of breaking up, he had nothing but praise for his friend. He said, Taylor and I, we have a connection that I've never felt with another person in a band. I know that Taylor will be in my life for the rest of my life. And so for the two of us to connect in the studio like we did was just really great. Taylor needs to be recognized as one of the best drummers you've ever seen in your life. I mean, I would have nothing less in my life, especially as a drummer. End of quote. Now, piggybacking off of that, recently I caught Foo Fighters in concert, a little closer to home here. It was a revelation. I mean, when you see these guys live, you know what I mean. It was one of their first concerts back with their new drummer, and as Dave got to this song in the set, he played the slowed down version and went in full throttle, but I was in the front row against the rail, about 8 feet from Dave. And he gave one of the most emotional performances of this song I've ever witnessed. I filmed it. I'll give you a little bit here.
Learn to love again. It's times like these.
You could sense that he was still carrying the loss of his best friend, and it electrified the audience. Carried us above the divisiveness of this world and made us all one, if only for a moment. It was incredible. Dave Grohl is rock and roll saving grace right now. I have so much respect for him. He created a song that's lifted so many to overcome the impossible. I mean, is there any doubt that this song belongs to be number one in our hearts? All right, so to bring us to the present, now 2 drummers have filled in for Taylor. They had Josh Freese for a couple of years, and they just announced Elon Rubin, former drummer of 9 Inch Nails, is going to be behind the kit going forward. But man, nobody can replace Taylor. But according to a source, the Foos are working on a new album with as many as 8 songs already put to tape, and the rumor is they're going to hit the road for a worldwide tour at the end of 2026. And this follows the much publicized news story that Dave Grohl had fathered a child outside of his 21-year marriage. He admitted this on Instagram about a year ago, stating the commitment to being a loving and supportive parent to his new baby daughter, and that he would work to regain the trust of his wife and 3 daughters. He took responsibility, he stepped up, and a year later, he and his wife are together. But over that time, many in the media and on YouTube and all over, they've ripped Dave Grohl incessantly. I even had a friend that told me he'd never forgive Dave Grohl for what he did, no matter what happened. And I've seen other videos of people burning his music and his book, and I gotta say, honestly, enough is enough. I mean, to those doing this, I'm saying that. Leave the guy alone. I'm not excusing what happened, but I mean, we all make mistakes. I know that's a big mistake, but we all do. We're all human. He took responsibility. He faced the consequences. And don't we all deserve a break, some forgiveness? Seriously, I wish him and his family the best. I think it's great that he and his wife are together and everything's working out. So looking forward to the new Foos album. Let us know your memories about Foo Fighters and times like these in this song. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think about Foo Fighters now and then and as a saving grace for rock and roll? Let's have a great discussion below. If you like our content, we do invite you to subscribe. And until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.